Everyone, today I'm going to describe all the Python practicals of class 11th in detail so that you can all write in your practical copies in a perfect manner, as I have tried each and every practical by myself, and even you can see its output along with the coding. And I'll recommend that you all should try these practicals because they are very important. So let's begin with the very first practical, that is how to find average and grade for the given marks. Okay, so you have to calculate the average of the given marks. This is like very basic thing which you all are doing when you are getting your results and you are taking out the average of your marks. So here we can see name equals to input, enter the name of the student. So you have to enter the name of the student. This I have taken just to show that we are taking out the average of a particular student. Then I took English, Hindi, maths, and then chemistry, physics. You can take any 5 subjects or any 2 subjects, as it is not mentioned how many subjects you have to take. So that is entirely up to you how many subjects you want to take, that you can have. After that you can see that I have used input command so that I can ask the user how many marks he or she wants to enter. Then we have to calculate the average. For all the subjects I have taken the variable with the same subject name so that it should not be confusing. Then to calculate the average, you all know how to calculate the average. Just to add all the subject marks, and then it should be divided by 5, as I have taken 5 subjects. If you are taking 2 subjects or 3 subjects, in that case you have to divide it by that number. If 2 is taken, then 2. If 3, then 3. Okay, then I'm simply printing those average marks, whatever is coming. Now according to the average, it should print the grade. If average marks is greater than equals to 91 and less than equals to 100, then particular student's grade will be A1. If it is between 81 to 90, then particular student grade will be A2. If it is greater than or equals to 71, or if it is less than equals to 80, then in that case he will score B1. Then if it is marks range between 61 to 70, then grade is B2. If average marks range between 51 to 60, then in that case grade will be C1. And if it is average marks will be 41 and 50, then in that range grade will be C2. And if marks greater than equals to 33, then grade is D. And if average marks less than equals to 33, then in that case you need to improve your grades. Here I think so we can add one more condition, that is and average marks less than equals to 40. Now I am running this program. We will see the output, what output we are getting. So first it is asking about the name of the student. So any name you can enter, that is up to you. Whatever the name you want to enter, that name you can enter. Okay, after that you have to enter the marks of English subject, then Hindi, then maths, chemistry, physics. See, you are getting average marks, student name is coming 84 and grade is A2. So this is how you can perform the very first practical of your Python practical. Now let's move towards the second program. This is your practical number 2. In this, what you have to do, you have to find the sale price of an item. Cost will be given and discount is also given to you. So the very first variable which I have taken, that is the name of the product. Again, this is optional because it is not asked. But see, whenever you are making your program, it should look like a professional software. You all know these things are only whatever the shopkeepers or wherever the malls or whatever the big shops you are going, everyone is using these kind of softwares only. So your program should have that professional look. That's why just product name, enter the name of the product, and then cost, whatever the cost price you want, you can assume the price of that particular product. Then it should print the cost price of particular product is cost. So that should come, and after that it should tell you this particular dis variable that how much discount is available on that product. Then this is very simple calculation. We all know whenever we want to calculate the discount should be multiplied by the cost of the product and divided by 100, and then you can simply divide that amount by the you can simply deduct the discount from the actual cost, and then you can print how much discount is available and now what price customer has to pay. Let's see its output. So here it is asking me about the name of the product. So here I'm entering air conditioner, cost price 50,000, discount, you can say 10% is the discount, and then discount on air conditioner is 5,000, and if 5,000 is discount, then in that means this amount will be deducted from this 50,000. So we will get 45,000 as the sale price of that particular product. Okay, I hope it is clear to everyone. Now let's have a look at the next program, which is very simple, specifically for math student, because for on this only we are working on different kind of formulas of different shapes. First thing is you have to calculate the perimeter, circumference, that depends upon the shape, and area of shapes such as triangle, rectangle, square and circle. See students, this program you can do by two methods. You can simply have a choices of different kinds of shape, and according to that you can have perimeter or area. Okay, but the thing is here they did not ask you to mention the choices. They only want, they have given the example, like it could be triangle, it could be rectangle, square and circle. So be on a safe side, we can have 4 different kind of practicals in one only. We can have area as well as perimeter of each and every shape and able to get the things. We all know if we want to calculate the perimeter of the triangle, then we need all the 3 sides of a triangle, just getting the input from the user and then printing the perimeter. Perimeter how we can get just by adding all the 3 sides and then getting the base and height, because to calculate area of a triangle we need 1/2 into base into height. So these 2 base and height can be entered by the user, and then we can print the area of a triangle, that is getting the area. Let's have a look at its output. So here it is asking for the length of first side of a triangle, so that is up to you. See, perimeter of our triangle we are getting 23. To know the area, base we need to enter, and then we need to enter its height. So area of a triangle is 2205. This is how you can work. Now next is to calculate the same thing for the rectangle. So again we have to put a simple formula for rectangle. We all know to calculate the perimeter of a rectangle we need to multiply length plus width by 2, and then we can get the perimeter. If we want to get the area, then we have to simply multiply length into breadth or width, okay, whatever it is. Run this program. So here I need to enter length and then width. perimeter and area will be calculated according to the specifications given by us in length and width. Next we have is square. For square, we know the formula. First we need to enter the side of square. Any one side we can take of a square, because you know all sides of square are equal. 4 into side 1. This is the formula of perimeter, and for area we know that it is side square. Okay. Directly we can see its output. So here I am entering length of one side of square. So perimeter and area, according to that it is calculating. Last one is the circle. Circle, we know that area is pi r cube and circumference is 2 pi r. So these formulas only we need to enter, and we have to enter the radius of the circle. Here you can use the math library also. On the top you can write here import math, and then here you can use the pi function. So that is up to you how you want to do. Directly also, because everyone knows that the value of pi is 3.14. So directly it could be done, or through math library also. Let's see its output. Entering the radius of the circle, and according to that we are getting area and circumference of a circle. Now let's have a look at the fourth program, where you need to calculate simple and compound interest. This is also again a very simple thing, formula which you are using from your very small classes. Even in your middle school you have this simple interest formula and compound interest formula. So here in this program I'm using the math library. I hope you all are aware that to call any library in Python we need import keyword. So import math, entering the principal, rate and time, and then first I'm using the formula of simple interest. Formula of simple interest is P into R into T divided by 100, and then printing the simple interest. Next is to calculate the compound interest. First I need this amount, so I'm calculating the amount. Principal into math dot power, because we need power function for calculating this compound interest. 1 plus r by 100 multiply by time. So according to that amount will be calculated, and then to get the output, get the compound interest, we can simply do this amount minus principal, and then we will get compound interest. Let's have a look at its output. Run your program. Enter the principal amount, any amount of your choice you can enter. Enter the rate of interest, that is again up to you. Okay, so this is simple interest and this is compound interest. Okay, so this is again very simple program. Next is to calculate profit and loss for given cost and sell price. So this is also very easy calculation. Let's see its coding. Selling price, first we need to enter. Cost price you need to enter. See here you can take the variable whatever you want to take. I have taken the exact the thing which is the demand of the program. You can changes, you can directly have SP, CP, that is up to you. Selling price, float, because price of any product could be in decimals also, no? So I have taken here float, entering the amount. And then if selling price is greater than cost price, this is also very easy formula, you all know about it. Profit equals to selling price minus cost price. Print profit earned is, if selling price is greater than cost price, then obviously it is a profit. If it is less than cost price, then in that case it is a loss. If it is neither less nor greater than, then in that case it is no profit, no loss. Let's run this program. We need to enter the selling price. Okay, cost price. So here you can see that, okay, loss. Why it is a loss? Because the selling price is 14,300, whereas the actual cost of the product is 45,000. So it is sure loss. If you want to check the profit also, then in that case your selling price should be higher than the cost price, 12,000, and cost is 2,000. So profit earned is 10,000. So these are the messages. Whatever the message you want to give, that you can give. Again, we can see if it is no profit, no loss, then in that case $10,000. Okay, it is 1,000. Cost price is also 1,000. So in this case it will be no profit and no loss. Okay. Next program, to calculate the EMI. You all know that what EMI is. That is easy monthly installment. So how we can calculate the EMI? In this you can see, first we need the principal amount. Principal amount is basically what actual cost of that particular product is, that you need to enter. So with the help of input you can have it. We have taken float because price of any or even EMI could also be in decimal, so that we can have. Then we want to enter rate of interest, on what rate of interest you are purchasing a particular product. Then monthly installment, how much you have to pay. This, see here we have used the formula that R should be divided by rate of interest should be divided by 12, because in 1 year we have 12 months. So each month we have to pay EMI. So that's why I have used this formula, multiply by 100. Then enter the number of installment. How many installments you have to pay, that should be saved in N. That depends upon your principal. And then here this is the formula of EMI, principal into monthly installment. It should be multiplied by 1 plus monthly installment, and here you can see 2 stars, 2 asterisks has been put. Why? Because it should be raised to the power what? That is number of installment. How many installments means 18 months, 8 months, for how many you are paying it, and then it should be divided by 1 plus monthly installment. This is pure formula of EMI. There is nothing logic, nothing like that. Only this is the formula, the way people are calculating EMI, so that I am using. Then printing the EMI calculation, whatever the amount is coming, that will be stored in EMI, and it will show you the output. Run this program, print. Okay, enter the principal amount, rate of interest, number of installments. Okay, so EMI calculated per month, it should be 1,255 rupees 0.684. Okay, so in this way you can calculate the EMI. Now let's have a look at the 7th program, that is the GST, how you can calculate the GST. See students, here you'll find many different formulas, but according to me, whatever the understanding I am having of GST is that state is also collecting GST from us and central government is also collecting, and total it is 18%, right? And we are getting the half of it. I'm not fixing it here 18%. Here you can see you have to enter the name of the item, and then you have to enter the cost of the item, and then GST rate. It could be anything. Then it should be divided by 2. Why 2? Because it should be divided by 2, because we know that it is going to be divided in 2 parts. So simply first I am taking the name of the item, whatever the item you want to take, then cost, obviously that could be in float, then GST, though it is not going to be in decimal, but if we will take one in float and one in integer, that will create problem. So I have taken this also in float. Then CGST. CGST means central government tax. Okay, so cost, whatever the cost is, it should be multiplied by it should be divided by 2 in 2 parts, and then again it should be divided by 100. Then state GST should be equal to CG GST, because it is divided equally. Then whatever the amount is, whatever the cost of the product is, this tax will be added in that cost, and then you have to calculate the amount. Okay, and then this is only printing whatever the state government, whatever the central government tax is, and how much amount you have to pay. Run this program. Enter the name of the item. It is not going to make any difference. Whatever the item name you want to enter, that you can enter. Suppose this is the, now here you can put 20% also, 18% also. It will be divided 10-10. Okay, if you are going to take like any other thing, any other rate of interest, that is also going to work in a same manner. Any product you can write here. Okay, I'm taking now 18%, so it will be divided between state and government as 9%, and then calculating its price. Okay, so this is how you can calculate the GST of any particular item. Now let's have a look at the next program, that is practical number 8, which is you have to find out the largest and the smallest number in our list. Okay, so this is again very easy program. Why easy? Because here we only need a list. Okay, one list user will enter, and then printing that list, and then directly you can use the max and min function of list, with the help of which you can get the smallest number as well as the largest number. So this is very easy one. Run your program. Enter the list. Okay, this is my list. So here you can see the list is 12, 67, 54, 98. Smallest number is 12 and largest number in the list is 98. Okay. Now let's have a look at the next program, which is you have to find the third largest number. See, in this list only, if you want to find out the third largest number, you all know that the third largest number is 54 here. So how you can do that? So first we will enter the list, val equals to eval, input, enter the list, and then we can have this printing of the list. Then I'm using the len function to calculate the length of the list, how many items that particular list contains. Then one variable I have taken for the biggest number, big, and then one I took for second big and another for third big, and that should be equal to the value with index value 0. I hope you all are aware of backward indexing and forward indexing in list. So for that purpose I took this, all these three variables should be equal to value 0, that is indexing of list. Then using the loop for I in range 1 comma length. If length is 4, then our loop will start from 1 and it will run till 3. Okay, if val I greater than big means biggest number, then it should be equals to second biggest number, and then biggest value, index value, will be stored in the biggest variable. Then if that value is bigger than, that index is bigger than second big, then that second biggest value should be equal to the index value of that particular element. Similarly, now because we have to calculate the third largest number, so that we have to see third big equals to val I, and then printing the largest number. Just for our reference we are doing this. This also you can use even if you want to print the second biggest number, that also you can do. Okay, I have used it as a comment here so that you can understand, even if you want to have the second biggest that number, that also you can have here. So just make it a comment and then calculate the third largest number. Run this program now. Enter the list. So here I am entering the list. Any particular values you can enter. And then see, our list is 12, 76, 89, 56, 43. Largest number is 89 and third largest number is 56. Second is 76. If you will print that this particular line, then you will get the second one also, because we need this 1, 2, 3. Without that we cannot have. So we need to take biggest, second biggest and third biggest also. Okay. Now let's have a look at the next program. Next program is you have to calculate the very easy sum of the square of the first 100 natural numbers. So this is very easy program. You need to take one variable sum equals to 0, then using the for loop so that you can get a number from 1 to 101, because we need 1 to 100, that's why. Then adding all those numbers and then getting its print out. Run this program. See, this is your output. Sum of 100 natural number is 5050. Okay, so this is very easy program. Now let's have a look at the next program, which is you have to get the multiples of whatever the number you want. That number you can add and whose multiples you want. This is simply like the way you are getting your tables from 2, 1 equals to 1, then 2 into 10 equals to 20. In that way only you need to enter a number and its multiple, whatever you want. So that is also very easy. Here you will enter the number, then for up to what you want its multiple, and then first, that is the number is, then multiple of that particular number, and then you are getting using this for loop. Simply you are starting your range from 1, n plus 1. N is, if it is 4, then it will be 4 plus 1, because loop will always run minus 1 of whatever the value is given. Because if I'll use here only n, then in that case if I want multiples till 5, it will run only till 4th. But I need till 5, so I have to use this n plus 1, and then multiplying equals to a into num, and then printing mul and getting the output. So here you need to enter the number. Suppose you simply want a table of 5. Now till what you want? 7. See. Okay. Any particular big number if you want, that also can be done with the help of this program. You can have 2, 5, 6, then its multiple till 3. Right? This is how you can get the multiples of any particular number. Now let's have a look at next program. Your next program is you have to create a dictionary where you can store name of states and their capitals. So now you have to create a dictionary. So one dictionary I have taken as stcap, so that it can represent state as well as capital. Empty, because I want user should enter how many capitals he or she wants to store. Then using the loop n number can be entered, entering the state, entering the capital, and then storing it as a dictionary, means key and then its value, and then printing it. Let's have a look at its output. So I want to enter 5 states and their capitals. So first we can have Delhi only. We know its capital is Delhi. Then I want to enter Punjab. Chandigarh is the capital. Then you can have Chhattisgarh, whose capital is Raipur. Then you can have Haryana. Again, its capital is Chandigarh. Now last, Maharashtra, that is Mumbai. See, this is how you can create a dictionary. Here you are getting all the states along with its capitals. So this is very easy peasy program. Let's have a look at the next program. Our next program is, here you have to enter marks of 5 subjects. You have to create a dictionary of students where you can store names as well as their marks obtained in 5 subjects. See, here you can have the loop. First you need to use a nested loop, because you can see you have to enter the name, then you have to enter their subject, and then you have to enter their marks. See, in this I am not creating a dictionary which is by the user. In the program only I am creating 3 dictionaries, D1, D2, D3, to enter 3 students' marks. If you want to have 5, then you can create 5 dictionaries. According to that you can create the number of students you want to enter. And then you are taking different subjects: English, Hindi, informatic practices, biology, chemistry subjects, because we need 5 subjects, so you have to enter 5 subjects marks. Then after creating 3 dictionaries for 3 students, now which dictionary belongs to which students, that you have to mention. So one more dictionary is required which will refer to these dictionaries. Akansha is the first student, so her dictionary is D1. Abhinav is the second student, his dictionary is D2. Aryan is the third one, so his dictionary is third one. Okay, then I'm using the keys method, that for A in D4 dot keys, what it should print, it should first print the student name, then after that it should print its value, like whatever the value is, whatever the subject name is, that will be printed. Then in that, see, second loop also I'm using for B in D4 A. In A, whatever the value is given, that you have to mention, that is their marks. So it will gives you the result in a particular format. Here you can see we are getting the output. First student is Akansha, subject name and her marks, and then second student is Abhinav, subject name and its marks. Then for third student Aryan, subject and its marks, and this is our output. Here students, you can see that it is not aligned properly, though I have used this /t, so we can have a perfect distance between the subject and the marks, but as subject name, their number of characters vary, so it is showing us result in that way. You can use different type of carriage returns with the help of which you can format your output. Okay, now the last, to create a dictionary, and then you have to print the highest as well as lowest value in that particular dictionary is. So here also you can use do this program in 2 methods. Directly you can use the created dictionary, that is numbers, any particular name you can take of that dictionary, numbers you can directly have, or you can create the dictionary. The way I have created, numbers equals to, this is empty, I want that user should enter how many values he or she wants to store in the dictionary. After that, use the loop, then it should enter the key and its value, then it should create the dictionary, numbers should be shown, then we have to sort it out. Why we are sorting it out? Because we want largest and smallest, so that we will only get if we are sorting our dictionary. So sorted function we are having related to dictionary, directly we can use that. After sorting its value, we can have our what given dictionary is and what sorted dictionary is, and then we can calculate the highest value. We know that highest value will be at the end, and we know that in backward indexing starts from -1, so you can directly write it should print whatever the value given at the -1, and lowest value we know that it will start from the very first element, that is 0 in the forward indexing, so that we can print S0. Let's have a look at its output. Run your program. So how many values you want to store? For example, you are storing 3 values, right? Enter the key. So first key I am entering 1, its value is 888. Then 7, its value is 777. Any other thing also you can take, it's not like that you have to take this one only. Then you can have, okay, 4. So you can see 1, 888, 7, 777, 4, 444. Then this is our given dictionary. Then its value are sorted, and according to the sorted value, highest value is 888 and lowest value is 444. Okay, so these are the very easy programs which CBSE has prescribed you. If you are able to do all these programs, you can do any programming in Python.